Well, welcome in once again to another Johnny Torch live broadcast. We're doing the Torch News Roundup today. Live program number 243 and Torch News Roundup number 281. Welcome into the show, everyone. It's been a while since we've done one of these because, quite frankly, there's not a lot of news because of the actors' strike, the writers' strike. There really isn't a lot of stuff going on that can be confirmed, at least. I mean, I've seen a lot of articles coming out with rumors about this is what Superman Legacy is going to be about. This is what they're planning on doing for something or other. But I try to stick with the facts. I don't really want to sit here and talk about what may be and suppositions. So I kind of try to deal with the facts. So we've got a couple of things to talk about this afternoon. Probably will be a fairly brief show, but let's try to get to that. And first of all, welcome in. Thank you for joining us whenever you join us here. We love you madly. Make sure you hit like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, all those wonderful things that all the wonderful people in YouTube sphere always tell you to do. Do them for me as well. A very hot day here in the Torch Central, high atop in Torch Tower, looking down upon the fair metropolis below. And yesterday was kind of chilly, and I think the forecast is starting to reflect that it's going to be getting chilly because, we're in the halfway point of September. Fall is in the air. Of course, there's football on right now. So I got to get this show done before the Patriots take on Miami later on tonight. But first, we're going to talk about some stuff here. We got to do some housekeeping ourselves. The first thing we're going to talk about is on Twitter. Earlier on this week, I revealed the cover for Bullets Bourbon 12. Now, Bullets Bourbon 11 is out there right now, and it's available for purchase at, well, that's kind of the problem. See, Indie Planet is as I said, I've always had problems with them. I'm going to have to make sure I send them off another letter, but you will be able to get the PDF version of it on Global Comics next month. Next 7th of October, you'll be able to get that there. If you want a copy of issue 11, Man of Our Times, you'll have to send it to me directly. I will see what I can do to get a copy for you. We'll talk about some of the other things in a few moments, but first, let's do the reveal. Let's do the cover reveal, and this is what issue 12 is going to look like. Now, if you don't want any spoilers for issue 11, and I'm always trying to keep spoiler free for my readers as long as humanly possible. But at a certain point, you have to say, well, everybody that really wanted issue 11 probably would have gotten in touch with me to get issue 11 at this point. So I've got to do some promo work for issue 12. Now, if you've been following the story, the sad story I've been saying on Twitter and so forth, I have to get a new laptop practically every year because I'm always having some kind of difficulty with the laptop, be it, a jacked up outlet or something or other. Well, in this case, it was a problem that I couldn't get the stylus to pair. I couldn't get my styluses to connect. So I had to get another laptop. Again, this set the book back a couple of months at least. And so finally, we're in the swing of things now. We're officially working on issue 12 as of this week. And if you haven't read issue 11, issue 12 may contain some spoilers. I mean, the cover will contain some spoilers. So if you really don't want to have any idea of what's happening with that, you may want to look away for the next 5 minutes or so as we reveal the cover for issue 12 of The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. Here it is. This is not the finished work. This is the issue cover that is in issue 11. This is an ad version of the cover. Now, usually what I do is I'll just put a tiny blurb on the cover when I'm putting it as an ad, sort of as a coming attraction for the next issue. So you will find this page in issue 11 as an ad to show what the cover is going to look like. The cover, of course, is not going to look entirely like this. We're going to have to put the logo up on the top of the page instead of the ad blurb. And the issue is going to be called Nursery Crimes. And the reason is because, again, another pithy Genesis reference. I can't help but put Genesis titles hidden well and not so well in my issues. If you are a fan, you'll notice this. Some are more well hidden than others. Probably not in this case. But if you follow along the story of Man of Our Times, which of course is another homage to the Genesis song, Pencil Neck has been released from prison, the asylum wing of Lockmore Prison for the criminally insane. And he is being touted as a reformed man, a man of a man of the people, a man of our times. And what's going on is everyone thinks that he's powerless. Now, Bullets knows things are not always as they seem. He's not willing to take Pencil Neck's reform at face value. Aha, another Phil Collins album title. But he's still unaware that he has had his powers restored. Pencil Neck has his powers, his ability to erase. And he's kidnapped all of Bullet's friends in the second part of this two-part arc. And in the third part, we're going to find out exactly what he has done with them. And what he has done is put them in the amusement park of Doom, where he has set up death traps for Bullets to try to save his friends. And each one, of course, based on a nursery rhyme, as we have here with Desiree on a merry-go-round of doom with some very dangerous-looking animatronic characters holding machine guns. So again, this cover may be tweaked a little bit, but this is the cover for issue number 12, Nursery Crimes. And again, if you haven't checked out the series yet, please do so, because this has been a lot of fun. This has been a labor of love, and I've been going on for it's going to be 12 years now. Next year will be 12 years. When this issue comes out, it'll probably be out in January. That's what I'm shooting for anyway, because we're at the very beginning of work on it. I'm sure this is going to take me at least another 4 or 5 months. So if you haven't checked out any of the issues, sit tight. You've got plenty of time, because we have 11 issues in the can. And we have the Chronicles is what we're calling the first 3 books in the series, because the series proper is called The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye, but we have the remastered first 3 stories now as a trade, and we're calling it the Bullets Bourbon Chronicles, or the Chronicles of Bullets Bourbon. I'm never consistent about that. I think if you're to buy the issue says the Chronicles of Bullets Bourbon, but every time I advertise it as the Bullets Bourbon Chronicles. So 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But it basically means that we took the first 6 issues, and we recolored them. In some cases, some issues needed better work on the coloring than others, and we relettered the first 4 out of the 6 issues. So basically, we just took all the stuff that I had been doing, learning on the job, and at the point where I felt like I knew what I was doing, we went back and fixed them up, made sure that they were up to spec, that the coloring would be as good as you expect, bright and vibrant, the way I like comics to look, that the lettering is about as top-notch as at least I can make it. And they're there for your perusal. They're there for you to check out. As you can find in the crawl over here at the bottom of the page, it tells you everything with the page count, the price, the number of issues there. You can find all that there. Now, you can also check out my website. Now, I haven't done this too often. I think I can manage this. Let's see. I'll take you into an in-depth look at my website here. Let's see if we can do that. All right. I think I can do this. Here we go. All right. Yeah, is that it? That's where we are. Okay. So this is our website here, and you can just check the link in the description below for access to it. And of course, we've already got this on display, the first new cover for the next issue. And you find all the stuff that you need to know about Bullets Bourbon will be here on the website. We have heroes. You can check out the biographies for all the hero characters. We have villains, the biographies for all the villain characters. We have rivals and citizens. That's some of the somewhat unsavory people that Bullets has to deal with. Those are the rivals. The citizens, of course, are people like, as you see Desiree here below. She's not really a hero or villain, so we call her a citizen. And of course, we have the coming attractions page here. I'm going to show you that in a second, but first off, our button here, Indie Planet, will show you exactly where to find the issues. The Bullets Bulletins, that's where I will put all my YouTube videos once I'm done with them. I put them in Bullets Bulletins so you can find them there. At least the last, I don't know, half dozen or so show up there. And of course, we have Johnny's Jukebox there. So if you want to find out what music I'm listening to at any given time, you'll find that there. The free preview, we've got the pages up for the first two issues in the arc, the Get the Lead Out and Man of Our Times. The Bullets Bourbon store, that's under construction. I've got to fix that because that's not really updated. It hasn't been in quite a while. You can find our link to Global Comics here. Like I said, the first, I want to say 10 issues are there already. They're up there and ready for your perusal, but the 11th issue will be out October 7th. And of course, if you're a, super reader or whatever they call it, you'll be able to read it 10 days earlier. And this is where you can contact me if you want to get one of the issues. You'll either get one from me or you'll get one from Indie Planet, depending on the link. And here, of course, I want to remind you of the Johnny Torch Delusions of Grandeur New England Appearance Tour. We've got 3 shows coming up for November/December. Of course, I'm going to see if maybe I can get another show up here for October. I'm not sure, so don't hold me to it. But if you want a chance to read all that, go to the website. I'm sure you'll be able to see it much better. And we're calling it the Delusions of Grandeur New England Appearance Tour. I'm out of it for a little while. Everybody gets delusions of grandeur. That kind of sums up the indie comic scene. And I'll take a look at the coming attractions page right here. Let me see if I can get that up. Of course, everything is a chore. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, all right. So here, this is where you can contact me if you have any questions or comments about the series. And here is the coming attractions page over here. This is some of the panels from Man of Our Times when it was a work in progress. And I decided to put them up here so that you can get an idea of what's going on. As I said, Pencil Neck he's made himself available to Thelma Hoffman, who's his benefactress, a wealthy hairdresser to the stars. And that's kind of where because he finagles his way around her little finger, he gets the money he needs for his crusade to become a philanthropist in Stark City. He tries to cozy himself up to Desiree Miller. She's not really all that enthused about his overtures here, and Bullets Bourbon, of course, is not having any of it. These are the clues that Bullets finds that Pencil Neck leaves at the case of the disappearances. Of course, Bullets confronts Pencil Neck at his favorite supper club, and Pencil Neck takes the opportunity to sort of goad him, hoping that he'll do something stupid. And of course, Bullets then turns to Iggy Duke, the crack investigative reporter of Stark City, to try to uncover the clues and put them together and find out what Pencil Neck's nefarious scheme is. If you want to find out what that nefarious scheme is, of course, you will have to check in with our most recent issue, which will be hitting the press soon, hopefully by January. That is Nursery Crimes. And keep checking back on Twitter and on my YouTube channel, and I'm sure we'll get some more panels out of this as they are completed. And we'll move on now. I'm sure everybody's excited about the other topics, but thanks for checking out The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye, if you in fact have. Let's take a look at, well, let's do the Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom trailer talk. Now, I'm really interested in this movie because they haven't done any press on it. They haven't done any trailers for it. And of course, because, as I said, the actor strike, the writer strike, there's only so much they can do. And if you want my opinion on that, honestly, I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, I can't see it going on for too long because, you know, there's so many things that I want to see come out. I mean, you know, Superman Legacy, I'm excited about that. And I'm sure that can't move forward until the strike is over. Cobra Kai season, what is it, 6 now we're on? Really excited for that. And of course, I think they barely got an episode in the can before they started the strike. So a lot of stuff that I'm looking forward to is not moving forward. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, you know, a lot of stuff out there is crap. And, you know, do these people really need a raise? Do they really need encouragement? Well, that's in the eye of the beholder. I mean, quite honestly, you could see anything as, like, for instance, the Ahsoka show. Now, I'm satisfied with it. A lot of people are still banging the gong of it's hopelessly terrible and so on and so forth. We'll be doing a video about that once it's over, and I'll be able to, I think I'm going to review that in its entirety and not just take it apart, you know, a week at a time. It's better to, for me anyway, to do it all at once. And so in the case of, you know, the movies out this year, honestly, it's been a very dire year for movies. Now, that's not saying they were all bad, because I actually liked a couple of them. But if that's what you're hanging your hat on, that, you know, the subpar movies are needing their writers and actors to be rewarded for subpar material, I can see where that line of thinking is coming from. Now, I liked Shazam 2 a lot. That's still my favorite this year. And I think probably Guardians 3 was second best. It wasn't a masterpiece, but it was good. The same can be said for The Flash. I thought it was enjoyable. Not a masterpiece. Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, again, mid, but entertaining. Blue Beetle, if you haven't seen my review of that, check that out. We did that a couple of days ago. Again, mid, not really something to be overly excited over. So I can kind of see where people are not particularly enthusiastic this year. We also have the Marvels coming out, which I probably will see. I probably will see it in theaters, but I don't know. I don't really have too much hope for that. I think the Captain Marvel movie wasn't great. Now, people really built that up to be like the worst movie ever, and it really wasn't. But it wasn't a good movie. And so I don't know how they've decided to approach this next one. They basically are trying to, it looks like anyway, they're trying to make Captain Marvel into more of a, you know, a jovial character. She seems to be playing things for laughs a lot more now. Ms. Marvel is in it, which kind of brings the charm of a younger character. And of course, we have Photon, who, depending on who you talk to, should be Captain Marvel because she was the original first female Captain Marvel. In my mind, Captain Marvel should have always stayed Marvel. I don't think they really needed to appropriate that name to give it to either Carol or, what's her name? Photon. I can't remember the character's name. But, it is what it is. We're talking about everything but Aquaman 2, apparently, right now. But with that all out of the way, what did I think about the trailer? Well, I'm actually looking forward to this one. That's kind of what I was trying to get to. I think the first movie was very good, and it made over $1 billion. I guess I can see it. I mean, Jason Momoa, I've always said this, Jason Momoa is catnip to women. I mean, women seem to enjoy seeing Jason Momoa. He wouldn't have been my first choice for Aquaman. In fact, it feels like it's basically they're teasing you by having his brother Orm kind of look more like Aquaman than the actual actor playing Aquaman. But that notwithstanding, I think it was a pretty accurate depiction of Aquaman, a pretty accurate origin, I should say, of Aquaman. I mean, he's sort of a dude bro more than I think what Aquaman should be, but apart from that, it was pretty faithful. The trailer went out of its way not to show Mera, and I think that's unfortunate. I hope Amber Heard has a decent part in this movie. If you remember my whole take on this whole thing, I don't really care one way or the other. I feel like that was a personal thing that should have been between Depp and Heard, and I really didn't. I mean, I took sides in the sense that I did believe Depp's story more than hers because they had the audio evidence pretty strongly in his favor. But I don't think that's something that should really impact either of these actors. This is like a personal matter with them. Let them just act. Let them have their jobs. And if they reduce the role of Amber Heard for this movie, I don't think you punish the character for the actor's behavior, for better or worse. I think you let the chips fall where they may, and you let the actor or actress continue to do their job. I'm firmly against cancel culture, so I don't think it works either way. Unless you've committed like the most heinous crime of all. If you've done something, against children or, literally became a mass murderer, you know what I mean? I don't really have a problem with these actors continuing on in their role. So I'm kind of disappointed that it looks like she's not really even in this movie. We see some snippets of other actors. Apparently, Nicole Kidman's back and Orm is back. I forget the actor's name right now. And they are kind of touting it as a buddy movie, a bro movie where it's going to be Aquaman and Orm, and they're going to take on Black Manta. Now, Black Manta actually looks like the real selling point here. I mean, he really looks fearsome. He's got the black trident, which is apparently going to be like this big uber weapon that is going to lay Atlantis to waste or something. And again, the costuming is just so spectacular. I mean, Black Manta looks like he just came off the page. And they've got Arthur still in the traditional Aquaman costume. I guess he has a couple of different looks in the film, but for the triumphant clash at the end, he's going to be wearing the same Aquaman costume. Again, very exciting. It looks great to me, and I'm hoping that it's going to live up to expectations. Now, there's been rumors abounding that, test audiences thought it was horrible, and people are saying maybe it's a little too woke. Maybe they're talking about climate change and all this and that might, in a sense, Aquaman's always had that sort of climate thing going where he's worried about the environment of the undersea kingdoms and how the pollutants from the surface are going to affect his kingdoms. And you kind of expect at a certain point they're going to do some of that. But as long as it doesn't grind the film to a halt and just proselytize, it should be okay. I'm afraid this is what my main concern is really for this film is I guess it doesn't really make any difference because we're not sure that this is going to continue on. The Gunverse is pretty much over. But are they going to do the thing where he's going to get the hook hand? Because I always hated the hook hand. Peter David gave him the hook hand. I always hated it. And they did that in the Justice League animated series as well. I hated it there as well. And the idea, at least from the Justice League, because I didn't read the Peter David comics because I didn't like what was going on with them. But the idea, at least from the Justice League cartoon that I remember, is that in order to save his son, he had to like cut his own hand off. And that's why he gets the harpoon hand, which later on turned into something else. I don't know what they did. It was like unstable molecules of water or something. I mean, I could be remembering it wrong or something like that, but they try to give him his hand back eventually. And I kind of like don't want to see that. But Black Manta is back and he's loaded for bear, as they say, and he's like gonna try to kill all his family, which I'm guessing. I don't think he's gonna kill Mera. I don't think he's gonna kill the baby. He's probably gonna kill either one or both of his parents. I think he's probably gonna kill Nicole Kidman, sort of in shades of like Thor 2. I think it's gonna be something like that. And possibly also his father, because Tamara Morrison, he is in this, but as a land dweller, I don't know really how he would survive a brutal attack here. And of course, Black Manta, he wants revenge because his father died in the first film. And, you know, that's a great motivator here. I mean, he's really going Wrath of Khan, which is, you know, if you're going to try to do something like that, Wrath of Khan, Superman 2, the revenge factor, maybe to an extent, The Empire Strikes Back, although I don't really think Darth Vader wanted revenge as the impetus for that film. But it sounds to me like on paper, this is going to be a really good film, a really exciting film. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. I hope that it's not a complete failure this year. Let us get one really big box office bonanza going here. I think, you know, they kind of, you know, spoilers for The Flash, but they kind of said at the end of that film in the post-credit scene that, you know, Jason Momoa's Arthur is the Aquaman in every version of the multiverse. Now, I think that's something they could probably very easily reverse, but it sounds to me like they're going to try to involve him going forward in the Gunverse. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but again, things are all over the place right now in DC. We don't know what's going on. I think it fairly obvious Ezra Miller's out. There's been rumors Gal Gadot is in, Gal Gadot is out. We haven't decided if Gal Gadot is in. We haven't decided if Gal Gadot is out. A lot of that is very difficult to figure out. Perhaps they're waiting to see how this movie does before they decide Momoa's fate in the Gunverse. We just don't know yet. So let me know what you think in the comments below. How do you feel about this Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom movie type thing? Do you think it's going to be a success, another disaster for DC? Do you think they can rebound with, you know, Superman Legacy? I guess that's the next film. Technically, I don't think they have anything else out next year. I think Superman Legacy is out, what, is that 2025? Certainly is going to be after this strike because they're not really getting anything done right now. So, Rumorville, let's see. We've got also Batman 2. What is it? The Batman 2. And the rumor is it's going to be a version of Clayface. Probably the first version of Clayface, the original Clayface, where it was just a guy with a mask, or maybe he used putty and prosthetics or something to make his face look different. I don't know. That's the scuttlebutt. Again, I'm not really interested in what they do with the Robert Pattinson version because I don't like my Batman being so realistic, for lack of a better term. So, you know, real world. I want my Batman to have the sci-fi villains. I want the Clayface who looks like a giant blob. I want the Mr. Freeze with his head in a dome with the blue skin. You know, I want Man Bat. I want Joker to have the chemical, you know, makeup in the skin. I want Penguin to have the freakishly long nose. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I am. You know, I want the Riddler, you know, seriousness be darned. Let him at least wear the suit with the question marks. You know what I mean? That is what's been sorely lacking in Batman in live action since as far back as probably Batman and Robin, if we're being honest. Because Nolan's version was just uber realistic as well. I mean, he had like the Bane on steroids. That was pretty much the only, you know, sci-fi wacky type thing he introduced in there. I mean, that really isn't saying much. All right, so segueing into Batman now, we've got a very sad bit of business to talk about here. The passing of Arleen Sorkin. Arleen Sorkin, who passed on, I believe, of pneumonia and multiple sclerosis. But she had been the original voice of Harley Quinn, and Paul Dini, who created Harley Quinn or co-created Harley Quinn with Bruce Timm, basically based the character on her personality. And so she was the original Harley Quinn in more ways than one. And again, it's very sad. We just lost Kevin Conroy, who again also like Arleen was the definitive voice of Batman, and you know Arleen being the definitive voice of Harley. I mean, I don't think anybody thinks of any voice other than hers when you see a cartoon version of Harley Quinn, especially the original version as drawn by Tim. And you know, she made that character popular. Of course, you know, also Paul Dini's writing was, of course, fantastic. But I mean, she was originally intended to be just a throwaway character, the quote unquote hench wench that Joker was going to have, sort of like the way they did it um, in 60s Batman, where you know every Bat villain had a group of flunkies, and usually with bizarre names and so forth. And they would have the one girl, the token Moll, who would sort of be their girlfriend, I guess. Girlfriend of the appearance, because none of them ever came back. But Harley came back. She transcended that and made her own imprint on the Batman legacy as someone we felt genuine affection for. And we wanted her to do good. You know, we were cheering for her because she had that like misplaced affection for Mr. J. And you could tell that she was really, you know, good at heart. That's why I don't like it when they go too far with her and they try to make her a killer. I think, you know, I don't know how the live action versions really have portrayed her, because I only have seen, well, I've seen both versions of no, I've seen one version of the Suicide Squad, and I've seen the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, or whatever that movie's name was. And again, the whole heart and soul of the character, though, is not that she's like this bloodthirsty killer, but that she's just so enamored of Mr. J that she sort of lets her common sense go by the wayside. And I don't think there'll ever be as good a version of this character as Arleen Sorkin's version that was in Batman the Animated Series. It just resonates because, you know, now they have the TV show, the Harley Quinn TV show, which is just, it was horrible from day one, but people are starting to realize, I think, just how horrible it was from the beginning. And they've tried to make Harley something that she was never meant to be. They made her, I think, either a lesbian or a bi with Poison Ivy. And that wasn't the point. The point of Harley was that she was so in love with the Joker, and the Joker didn't particularly treat her right. But I'm against the people that say that the relationship was like so dysfunctional. I mean, I think the thing about the Joker, and it bears out if you watch the animated series, is that he always wanted to keep her around, but he's not really a good boyfriend. You know what I mean? He's not good boyfriend material. So whenever he goes off on his rants and he does his crazy schemes and this and that, Harley's always an afterthought. But the layer isn't the same without her around. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't think he willingly mistreats her in a lot of cases. And a lot of people have tried to like build on that too much, that, well, he willingly, mistreats her and abuses her and stuff like that. I've never really seen it that way. I've always seen it that he's not really someone emotionally, obviously he's not emotionally someone you can connect to. And she thinks she can, Harley. But that's not possible with someone like the Joker. He's not, he's a sociopath or a psychopath. So it's not something that is going to work for her, but she doesn't give up and she keeps trying to make it work. And it's a very interesting dynamic because nobody really puts their finger on that the way they did in the animated series. I think it was best described when Paul Dini described their relationship as the Joker gives Harley just enough affection to keep her around, but he doesn't really have that kind of commitment to her, which is the joke, that sick joke that he has on her, that he still keeps her around, but doesn't really love her. And that's kind of the joke is on her. And that's why the Joker finds it funny. So again, there's a lot of interesting emotions to play with there, and they did do a great job with that in the animated series. Mad Love, I think, probably is one of the episodes I think that they kind of focused on that. But Harley sort of grew into her own character to sort of, it was like Harley's Holiday. There were episodes that showed that she could be her own character without necessarily having to fit in with the Joker. There are other various episodes that weren't as successful with that, but it was fun to be able to stretch her wings a little bit. And again, Arleen Sorkin was the wind beneath her wings, if I can get sappy for a minute there, because she was that character. She brought life to that character. And in some ways, I don't think that'll ever be recaptured without Arleen, because she last played the character for the video game, one of them, I forget which one. Was it Arkham City? I think it might have been that one. I'm not sure, but that was her last performance as Harley Quinn. So she hasn't been performing Harley too much up to her passing. But yeah, she fortunately made enough of an imprint before her final performance to give us a lasting legacy of Harley Quinn in animation and in video games. So again, we eulogize Arleen Sorkin, who passed on this past couple of weeks, and rest in peace. And we thank you for all the wonderful episodes, all the wonderful memories, and she was one of a kind. All right, so we're winding down here. Let me remind you once again to please check out The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. The website is listed in the description below. You can check out also all the shenanigans I get up to on Twitter. And again, I'm probably going to try to do a review of Ahsoka. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be over. I think it's like in the middle of October. So look forward to that. I'll probably see the Marvels. So you'll have a review for that probably coming out, 2 months from now when that comes out. So we got some things to look forward to. Next month is going to be my 10th year anniversary as a YouTube channel host. And I'm excited about that. We're going to try to put something nice and fun and exciting together for you for that. Who knows, maybe if we can get another news roundup of some exciting things to talk about, we'll try to do another news broadcast. If not, I'm sure I'll be able to come up with something to talk about for the comics chat, I got a few things in mind I want to talk about. And of course, we'll always be bringing you the latest news in Bullets Bourbon and my appearance tour, the Delusions of Grandeur tour. So, to keep abreast of all that, if you will, keep an eye out on my website, which you'll find the link in the description below, on Twitter, and of course, right here on this very channel. And so, until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.